guests. We welcome in the former deputy mayor of Jerusalem and host of the Quad, Fleur Hassan-Nahoum. Thank you so much for joining us, Deputy Mayor.
Good morning.
Good morning. We're heading toward a permanent ceasefire. At least we hoped we were heading toward a permanent ceasefire, but Hamas has refused to negotiate, and now Israel is beginning ground operations in Gaza again. It's been a week of fighting. It seems like Israel's past the point of negotiating. What does this mean for the remaining hostages?
Well, it's a very difficult situation. We know there's 24 hostages that are still alive. We know that every day that goes by, there's less of a chance that they'll remain alive because they're being tortured and they're being starved. And so we're in a very, very dangerous situation. The special envoy Witkoff put together a certain plan that Hamas rejected. They came back with an offer of 1 hostage alive and 4 dead for a ceasefire for a month and a half. And so we are dealing with lethal genocidal terrorists who are not negotiating in good faith because they don't know what good faith means.
Amen. That's clearly true. What about the U.S., which is now really pushing for this plan to have all of the population of Gaza evacuate, right? Where do you stand on that?
Well, the thing is that people in Gaza who are living under a terrible terrorist regime already for 20 years, at least should be given the option to move to a safer place. Hamas have used their population essentially as a buffer to protect their own leadership. We know for a fact that over the last 12 years, about 350,000 Gazans who were able to, the ones with money, have left Gaza. Since the war, about 100,000 have left Gaza and have gone to Egypt. And so I think President Trump said quite rightly, whoever wants to leave, why should anybody keep them in under this terrible regime? When Syria was having a civil war, Syrian refugees came out of Syria and were taken in by different countries around Europe. Well, we don't see why the Gazans should be given the same opportunity.
Well, isn't the Hamas people using the Palestinians as human shields?
Exactly. That's what they've been doing. They've been using them as human shields, as cannon fodder. They don't care about their own population. They're quite happy to sacrifice their own population. It's not me saying this. They've said this. They've said that they're quite happy to sacrifice hundreds of thousands of innocent people in order for their lethal and their dangerous goals. These people are extremists, jihadists, who don't give any value to human life, not their own, and certainly not ours.
Now, Israel's been fighting for a week, right, and has killed a major Hamas leader. Has this softened the opposition? Do you see that Hamas is coming back with any more willingness to negotiate?
I'm not sure they're there yet, but you have to understand that during the so-called ceasefire, when we were supposed to be negotiating the second stage of the ceasefire, the extension of the first stage of the ceasefire, however else you want to look at it, they've been regrouping, they've been rearming, they've been getting ready for the next fight. These people are not done. It's very clearly in their charter that they're there to destroy not just the state of Israel, but to kill all the Jews around the world, not just the ones in Israel. And so this is who we're dealing with. We're dealing with people worse than ISIS.
That's right. And the United States has made it very clear that Israel is correct to want the complete obliteration of Hamas, correct?
Absolutely, but it's not just the United States. It's also the moderate Sunni Arab countries like the Saudis and the Emiratis. They've been asked to put money into the reconstruction of the Gaza Strip. But who on earth would put money into an area which is run by terrorists?
Exactly. The Houthi rebels are continuing with their attacks, recently firing rockets at Israel. This comes after the U.S. conducted strikes on Houthi bases in Yemen. Trump saying any future Houthi action is Iran's responsibility.
Well, he's quite right.
Meanwhile, President Trump has given Iran a 2-month deadline to reach a nuclear agreement. In a letter sent earlier this month to the Ayatollah, he says that the chances of U.S. or Israeli military action against Iran's nuclear facilities would, quote, listen to this, dramatically increase if they don't comply. What's your reaction to what's happening?
Well, let me tell you where I was on Friday night with my children and my husband in a shelter when the Houthis decided to throw rockets and missiles at my country. This is the reality of our lives right now. We're being attacked on 7 fronts, and one of them, we don't share a border. We have no beef with the people of Yemen, but apparently they have now decided to become the protectors of the jihadi ideology in the region, and they've had the whole country under rocket fire for over a year now.
Well, in response, Iran's supreme leader says that the threats against his country will, quote, get them nowhere, and that Americans should, quote, do what they have to do. Anything malign to the Iranian nation, they will get slapped hard, he said. Do you think we'll see a joint strike on Iran between Israel and the U.S.? What's coming?
Well, I hope that the U.S. and Israel can create the circumstances for the Iranian people to overthrow this horrible regime that they've lived under for 40 years, a regime that suppresses and subjugates women, a regime that kills gay people, a regime that gives people zero freedoms. And so we have to create and help. The Iranian people are crying out for our help to create the circumstances, whether it's through maximum pressure and squeezing them on their economy, or whether it's through military strike. We need to bring down these people. These people, this regime is the Hitler of the 1930s today. So we have a chance. We have a chance now to dismantle the regime. We should do the maximum we can to help the Iranian people regain their freedom.
Before the mullahs have nuclear power, right?
Absolutely,
Before.
absolutely. That would be very dangerous, not just for our region, but for the entire world.
Right. Well, thank you, Deputy Mayor Fleur Hassan-Nahoum, for joining us. It's really a privilege to have you. Now, let's head back to our very